Judy on the radio, building dreams and achieving more, telling it just like it is. Most of all, keeping it real. Are you ready for real talk? Changing lives and communities. Real talk. Saving all our families. Real talk. Bringing hope for you and me. Real talk. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Real Talk with Judy live radio show. I am Dr. Judy, your radio show host, and thank you for joining the #1 talk show for empowering, inspiring, motivating, and lifting people up, helping people, especially women and girls, to see that it is possible. What is it? Your vision, your dream, your hope, your desire, everything you want to accomplish is possible if you only believe. But you got to see it before you see it, or you never will see it. Hello to everyone who's tuning in. Thank y'all so very much. So I believe honestly, that you have to see it before you see it, or you never will see it. That's real talk. So again, thank you for joining in. I am Dr. Judy, the People Architect, and I want to thank you so very much for joining me this very beautiful Tuesday morning here in Tallahassee anyway, March 28, 2023. Thank you for joining by way of radio. Hallelujah, 95.3 FM. And yes, we have been nominated again. We have been nominated again as for the Stellar Awards, that is, for the Stellar Awards as the Small Marketing Radio Station of the Year. And man, Dot D, our program director, got us doing some major things in the city, around the world, everywhere. We are making moves, and guess what? It's all for the betterment and the encouragement of the people. So again, thank you for joining us on the radio and Facebook Live, YouTube, and the Hallelujah app. To all of you outside of Tallahassee, thank you for joining again. We greatly appreciate your continuous support and for you continue to join us. I'm glad you have joined, chosen Hallelujah 95.3 FM, the Real Talk with Judy live show. So since you chose it, do me a favor, go ahead and call and text, email, tag, whatever you got to do to get everybody on this show, especially women, because today's show is in celebration of all women. When you hear this guest and we get to talking, it's gonna blow you up to another level. I promise you. So call the women who need a boost in making things happen, women who may believe that their vision or dream won't come to fruition, women who may need to wake up and smell the coffee and get moving, and women for sure who have been told that they can't do it. I want you to go ahead and call, get someone on here, because I already know this show is going to impact every listener in a mighty good way. So go ahead and do that. And I'm going to take a minute and greet the most important woman in my life. And that is my mama. That is my mama. That's right. Mother Irma, Dr. Irma Wesley. She's in Fort Lauderdale. She may be listening. She may not be listening, but she will listen. She always go back and listen. But I am so honored to have her still here with us, with our family. I had opportunity to spend some time with her last Thursday and Friday. And one day for almost 2 hours, we just talked and talked. And she just shared so much. I love sitting at her feet. I do. I love sitting at her feet. So we are thankful for everyone for being on, to my wonderful husband, who allowed me to do what I do. And he's the reason I get to do what I do. So I do thank him so very much. And to Sister Priscilla John Louis, Kaylin John Louis, for being the program marketer, the marketing director of this team, the production, and she's lead it. She keep us going. And to her amazing daughter, Kaylin, thank you. And to everyone who helped us. Again, to you, the greatest audience that keeps me coming back with enthusiasm about your success and your fulfilling your God-given dream. All right, I'm telling you. Now, I hope y'all got a lot of people on here already. I see them popping in. I know I can't see how many on the radio, but I know you're on there on the app. I have people from everywhere telling me that they're listening to the radio show. When people come up to me and they start singing the song, real talk. I mean, that right there is something, man. I enjoy that. So go ahead and get them on. But right before I bring the guest, you see her. Isn't she beautiful? Look at her. She posed for the camera. She posed for y'all too. All right. But again, I want to say, first of all, to the Big Bend Minority Chambers Business Women's Council, I want to say thank you for honoring me and 5 other women, recognizing us as the 2023 Trailblazer of the year. So I want to say thank you. What an honor. We don't ask for these awards. God allowed people to give them to us. And we're thankful that the work we're doing is speaking for us and that is glorifying the Father, which is in heaven. I'm getting ready to bring our guest on. But before I do, when I thought about her, I thought about her last week and knew that she was coming on the station. But this poem came to my life. I mean, to me. And it says, you may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room, just like moons and light suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head, lower eyes, shoulder falling down like teardrop, weakened by my soulful cry. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, cause I laugh like I got gold mines, digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black queen, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise, bringing the gift that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slaves. I rise, I rise, I rise. Yes, I rise. And so she's a licensed clinical social worker and the current associate executive director at Pace Center for Girls in Leon. She was previously a program director, and social service manager. She has served as the intake transition counselor and spirited girls teacher at the center. She has a master's degree in social work from Florida State University. She received her BSW, that's Bachelor of Social Work, from Thomas University, where she was awarded the Be the Change Award. Yes, she is also certified in childhood development and trauma-informed care. She is a licensed clinical social worker. Yes, I'm reading it all. She was a licensed clinical social worker. She is a native of Kingston, Jamaica. They don't even want you to go there when you visit Jamaica. They tell the tourists don't go there because they will cut you up. And here I have a live Kingston Jamaican sitting right across from me. Look at her. Yeah, you're going to always be by my side. I'm going to keep you. She and her husband, Joey, are co-owners of the first Black-owned transportation company started in October of 2003 in Leon County, which is now operating in 3 cities. She is also the owner of Christian Clear Counseling. She is the proud mother of 6 children and serves as the homeroom mom for grades pre-K through 5. She believes today's youth need someone to advocate for them, but more importantly, teach them how to advocate for themselves. Yes, she lives by the mantra that help isn't help unless it's helpful. Accomplishment, I got to do this, y'all. And y'all will see why in just a minute. Social Worker of the Year for the National Association of Social Work in 2021. Tallahassee Top 25 Women You Need to Know 2021. Unsung Hero Shiro awarded by the Oasis for Women and Girls 2021. The FJJA Service Excellence Award 2021. Be the Change Award of the Year 2016. Hosted Teen Parent Event April 16, reaching over 3,000 people and creating resource booklets. Member of Zonta International, Phi Alpha Honor Society, board member Turning Point 2021, licensed and certification. She's a licensed clinical social worker, a trauma-informed care certification, strong communicator, endangered teen cancer, community outreach expert, homeless and dual diagnosed population, excellent interpersonal skills, strategic planner, proficient in Microsoft, Word, Excel, all of that. I am honored to have on the Real Talk with Judy show, all the way from Jamaica, Kingston, the one and only Christian Avalis.
Yes, I am honored to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. I enjoyed reading all of that.
Yes.
I enjoy reading it. And when I was reading it the other night, I was clapping. My sister, you have people on here clapping. My sister from Fort Lauderdale, she's clapping. They are clapping for you. And that's what it's all about. Y'all, that's what it's all about. When you can hear somebody's resume read like that and you get excited. I got excited.
I got excited too.
You got excited?
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here, Christian.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor. I've always wanted to be on your show. I'm a fan of you as a person, but also the show and what you do.
Well, I'm honored. I'm really honored. And it is when I was at the Ask event,
Yes.
and I go all the time, but it seemed like this last Ask event was something different for me because with the girls, and those girls' testimony, they make you want to give like $1 million immediately. You walk out of that boat and then you realize what you did. You gotta, hey, can I change that? I want to change it from 1 million to 1,000, okay? And then to hear where you come from, and what all you have accomplished.
Yeah.
Will you go ahead and share a little bit? Because some people on here don't know you. Some do, but I said, go ahead and talk to them.
Sure. So I am Christelle Avalis. I am a clinical social worker. My proudest thing is being a mom of 6 amazing, wonderful kids. I'm just so blessed to have them and the adults that they've become for my adult kids. I have from 23 to 4. I have 4 boys, 2 girls. They keep me busy. I'm very involved in their life. Dating is a thing. We were at Carrabba's last night, me and my boys having a date because it's important to feed into them. But I came to Tallahassee. I migrated here from Kingston, Jamaica. I lived there with my grandparents and my mom. And we moved to Tallahassee. Didn't know a soul. We didn't move to Miami. We didn't move to New York. We moved straight here to Tallahassee. And I loved it. Wow. I love Tallahassee. I love the feel of Tallahassee. The only experience I had with America at the time, I had been to Florida a few times, but the only experience I had was on TV. So I had become all the characters on Clueless, and I was like, this is how you dress, this is how you talk. So I moved here, and I had a really hard time. Mm-hmm. It was a really dark, when I think of a dark time in my life, it was moving. I went to Fairview Middle School. And I was bullied so bad. I didn't know about black and white. I really didn't. And people think that, even when I tell other Jamaicans, I was like, I did not know. I was a 13-year-old girl. And I didn't know when someone asked me, was that black or white? I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know myself. So I guess I'm in between. I don't have a white parent, but I guess they're like, no, you're not mixed. So I had no box to fit into. So it was a hard time. It was a challenging time. So I remember, not having any friends. I spoke differently. I dressed differently. Definitely acted differently. My mom didn't help that any because in Jamaica we have a uniform. So She got me some matching outfits, same color, and I wore those with church shoes every day to school, and a fur jacket because I was trying to fit into what I saw on TV.
Okay, and you wore that to Fairview?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I wore that. I wore that to Fairview and with all the other courts I had, unibrow, but the language was really different. Even though it's just a dialect, it's not really a language. A lot of people don't know that Patois is what we commonly use, but my accent was so strong. I mean, it was so strong, and even now when I get happy or really sad, you'll hear it come out a little bit.
It's coming out a little bit.
But yes, you'll hear it come out. But I remember just feeling alone and broken, and it was just me and my mom. I mean, she had her challenges. My mom is my rock. She is the most amazing person in my life. Like I love everything about her. I mean, anything I want to know, anything in the world, I call my mom. So, I mean, but it was just us. So it was hard. And, she's trying to figure out life on her own as well. And we struggled. We struggled. We as a unit was always okay, but we struggled financially. We struggled, with her unresolved trauma that she had. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And it was one of the darkest moments of my life was remember eating in the bathroom and just remembering I'm not gonna amount to anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean that was the low stuff because I'm severely dyslexic. So I was diagnosed when I was very early on. My mom fought to get the accommodations I needed in Jamaica done, which was hard because Jamaica is a third world country. You wouldn't know it being there. It's amazing, and the quality of life I believe is a lot better than what I have here, just with the people. But I just remember Dr. Judy just feeling like I was never gonna get anything. This third world, coming from this third world country, dyslexic girl, didn't fit in this box of this racial box. Didn't have a 2-parent household. That was really hard for me. Because my dad was alive and well. He was in Virginia with his other family, and he created a whole other family. So feeling those abandonment issues, that was the hardest challenge I had. Growing up, I came from, there was alcohol use in my home when I was in Jamaica, and we didn't have friends over, didn't have sleepovers because it was unpredictable what my grandfather would do at that time. So having all that baggage and not realizing what that was. I was sexually assaulted early on, about 8 years old, from a neighbor, and a safe place that wasn't so safe.
Wow.
So moving here, it was really hard. It was the hardest transition I've experienced in my entire life, still to this day. So, still I rise.
I was thinking that in my mind. I was thinking in that mind. Hey, why don't y'all go ahead and type that in the comments right quickly? Still I rise. Pastor Cheryl Powell, good to see you. To all of you who are on here, thank you all so very much for taking time to be with us today. But just type in there, still I rise. Still I rise. That's why I read that, because y'all got to see where she is now. Y'all got to see where she is now. She's going to tell us that. But she went through a hard transition. But y'all, she made it. And you all are going to be, and that's why I say get everybody on here. This show is always about helping you to see that you too can make it. So we bring people in here who have accomplished things that you may be afraid to accomplish, or that you're in a spot now that we have overcome. Okay, and once we rise, don't mean you're not gonna have to hear that again. And you're gonna have to hear people help. You got to have people to help you rise. You got to have people help you rise. You got to have people at the table who think that who know that you're able to bring an added successful addition to the table. Man, I would have her at any table with me. God. So we're at Fairview.
Yep.
Things are going on. And then you go, when did you make it to Pace?
So severely bullied at Fairview, and I just couldn't take it anymore. Contemplated taking my life a few times. In that moment,
and Fairview is what that's
Fairview. I was it was 6th grade.
And so you was contemplating taking your life.
I was contemplating taking my life. I mean, I think there was some attempts that didn't work successful, obviously, because I'm here. But yeah, I mean, I give praise every day for getting through those really dark times, and that is what I remember remind myself of one time, because life still gets hard. You know, life is tough, and you know, when I get those challenges, I remind myself of a time that was darker than this and how I got through it. So, and I get my mom and my grandma, they are always there for me, my number one supporters.
Wow.
So I remember.
So is your grandma over here as well?
Today is actually her birthday.
Really?
And she is 85. She is a former Miss Jamaica, former runner-up for Miss World. She is a wonderful, strong woman.
Tell your grandmother hello.
Hi, Mimi. Happy birthday.
She doing it dialect.
Hi, Mimi. I wish you a very good birthday.
See that, Mimi? I wish you a happy birthday too. I love the Caribbean. I do, man. When I go over there, I love the party. No problem on it.
She's the best cook I know.
Is she?
My mom's going to debate it a little bit, but she is the best cook I know.
Both of them live here?
So my mom lives in Orlando, but my grandma's visiting from Jamaica. She still lives in Jamaica. In the same house I grew up. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes.
I know you're a strong woman. And so now I understand even better. You get it from your mom and your grandmother.
Yes.
So they instilled that into you as a child.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Talk, I'm going to come back to you going to pay, but talk how important. Cause my mom is my life stream. I mean, she really is. My sister, they laugh because when I go home, I just want to sit on the side of the bed. Or she has this recliner she loves to sit in, and I like to sit and just listen. I don't go anywhere till after she puts me out the room. She does. She said, "All right, Judy, there's a big TV out there if you want to go watch it. Turn my TV off."
That's how my mom is.
That's how she is?
Yes, my mom is an introvert a little bit. She's like, okay, you had your time.
And so when she kicks me out, I go hang out with my sister. But tell how important it is.
So my grandmother was such a influential part of my life. I mean, still just going to school. She was 100% of the reason I went to school. I had no need to go to school. I had started a business with my husband, and it took off. It was Uber before Uber. It took off, and we made money quick. We made money. I mean, we made good money. We made good money really quickly. And she calls me one day and she says, "So money's everything to you now?" And I said, "Hello, good evening, good afternoon." And she said, "Yes, you know, this is all good. All the cars, all the house, this is all good. This is all great. And I'm happy for you." But she's like, "What happens when it all washes away?"
Mama.
And I said, "Whoa." And it hit me. And I said, "So what do you want?" It was the first time I kind of got a little bold. And I said, "So what do you want? You want the degree? You want the paper? I'll go back to TCC and I'll get you the paper." She said, "Yes, please." Because no one could ever take away your education. Your husband might leave. This might happen. No one will ever take that away from you. And I just was like, and then she would hit me with, you're gonna let me die before you get the education.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So that drove me. And I went and I did class after class. And every class I was like, okay, just get in the paper. And
hold on. We skipped pace.
Oh, we skipped pace. Okay. Yeah, my grandma.
Oh yeah, because grandma. I'm already falling in love with your mom and grandma.
I wish she could call in. She is so strong.
She could call in.
She is so strong. I mean, I saw her in a marriage. As I said, my grandfather struggled with alcoholism for a long time. And I saw her move in so much grace. And that is when I learned grace. And I learned to be fluid and flexible. Because, I mean, it would get physical at times. And she... You know, everybody knew in the neighborhood, everybody would talk about it, and it was embarrassing. Family would talk about it, but she never made us feel embarrassed. Like, I didn't know what was happening until I moved.
Wow.
So, and still woke up, served breakfast like nothing happened, still believed in, you know, making tea for everybody, and just poured into so many people. Like, as you said, Kingston has a bad rep. You know, there's curfew, there's gangs. There is some things that happen in Kingston that are not the most pleasant. And we live kind of in the valley. So on this side was the really rich. And on this side was the helpers. And it was called Aki Walk. And it was an area where it was a ghetto. It was where all the bad things happened. You heard the music at night, that type of thing. But she made that house such a home.
Wow.
Yeah, and such a safe place. And she taught me resiliency. She kept getting up and she taught me poise. And I mean, she is the most elegant, always in heels, makeup. She is sporty at 85. Like you would not know.
I want to meet your grandmother. When does she leave?
She is coming next week.
Oh, she's coming next week.
She's coming next week to Tallahassee to visit me. Really? She's in Orlando now, my mom.
Please make sure I meet your grandmother. I must meet your grandmother and get a picture with your grandmother and put it on my wall. I have a wall of just amazing women. You know, it was like Maya Angelou and all of those they are amazing. Right. But we have some people in our lives that sometimes, some women in our lives, some strong women in our life, that we must not negate the fact that if it had not been, and some people ask, why do I always push my mom? My mom is my strongest supporter. And my sisters are like tad right behind her. And so we learn to push each other. We wipe each other tears. We lift each other up. Right. You know, we do. And we're like, nobody supports you. Look at all of us. Right. No, we support each other. My dad instilled that into us. Right. So I would really love, I'm serious. I will. She would love that. And I want to take a picture with her. She would love take that. Take a picture. Y'all see, I can go to Kingston. Yeah, she would have you in a minute. So I tell her, like, it'll be the best place to Airbnb because you get the authentic Kingston feel. But yeah, it was, but she made it so safe, and she made so much love and so much just understanding, but still the tough conversations. I knew not to play with her. Like when you're talking about disciplinarian, I mean, never physically punished me, but she was tough. Those words, I mean, she'll cut you to now. Oh, so that's what you're doing. Okay. And you gotta humble yourself and just realize there's so much wisdom there. Wow, I love it. Yeah. So we're in Fairview. Did you go to high school or did you go from Fairview?
I went to Fairview to Griffin.
Okay.
And this is when I went home for a summer and I grew up. I'll leave it there. I went home for 3 months and I said, okay, I'm going to be different when I go back. And I was different. I was sporty. I was promiscuous. And by promiscuous, I mean, I was you were going to know me when I left the room.
Yes, ma'am.
You were going to know. So the accent completely went away. I watched movie after movie. I watched Clueless. I watched all the shows to try and get the lingo. So you would hear me say, oh, whatever, water. And I was doing all the things. So I ended up making friends because I was here for a while. I made a friend that we're still friends to this day, my very best friend. And she became my friend because I was going to get jumped. So I was going to get jumped for some girls because I was too pretty. Then I started saying I was Black. And I said, back then I didn't say multi-ethnic Black woman, but I just said I'm a Black woman. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, you're not. Look at your hair. Look at your skin. You're not Black. You're not one of us. And I was like, I am though. You're my people and this is it. Mm-hmm. And they weren't having it. So it was a lot of hate, a lot of discrimination against me because of how I looked. And then I started acting real conceited. A lot of that I brought on myself, now looking back. But she defended me, and 4 girls were gonna jump me in the bathroom, and she came out and she said, "If you're gonna come for her, you're gonna come for me." And she was a big dog in the school at the time. Okay. So it spoke volume, and ever since then, she's always been like my ride or die. So and we're just different in that way. She's more assertive than I am, but we balance each other out. So anyhow, I moved from, I ended up being, as I said, having many boyfriends, being in the life, being in the world. And I realized, there was a moment where I realized I'm going down a path of destruction. My mother was working. She had gotten some really big jobs in restaurant management. And she trusted me with a great relationship. So a lot of freedom. And with freedom come, the things that you could do that's risky. And so I was meeting with the wrong people, talking to the wrong people. Lied about my age. So I was in the moon as a shot girl.
What?
Yep. At 13, I was 13 going on 14, and people would not know. I was doing a little bit of modeling with Marsha dolls for a little bit.
Really?
Yes. And I had really, the beauty thing had really, I kissed myself in the mirror. I said, oh, I'm this amazing girl. Wow. But so broken inside.
Yes.
So broken inside. And I knew that's not who I really was. And then my mom had a conversation with me. And I was in the mirror and said, I'm so beautiful. I'm so pretty. I'm this, I'm that. And she said, yeah, you are. But you don't feel that way. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm pretty. And she said, nope. She said, you are conceited and you like being conceited. So people can say you're conceited versus anything else. And it sat with me and I was like, wow. And my mom's not real lovey-dovey. I got that from my grandma. And she was like, I love you, but I want you to love yourself.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah, so that sat with me. Anyhow, it was too late because I was wearing bikini tops and mini skirts to school every day. So Dr. Gail,
I love Dr. Gail.
who now I work with, this woman brought me a change of clothes to change every day. So she brought me a change of clothes, and she would come and pull me as the principal at the time from the class and pull me and say, "You need to change. You need to change." But I got too many in-school suspensions, and I ended up failing the FSA. I just wasn't caring about school. I was in the life. I was having a boyfriend. So I failed 8th grade, and my mom had a tough conversation with me again that, oh, so we're going to come here and be a failure. We got this opportunity to come here, and you're going to be a failure. And she said to me the hard thing, and it could have been worded different, and I know she's probably listening, but she said, "Don't let me regret you being here." And I was like, "Oh," and she said, "You don't have to, but don't let me."
Don't let me.
Yeah.
Kudos to your mom. Kudos. No, and I say that because our children now growing up to be these young adults, but people, especially, and I know some people say I don't agree with me, and it's okay, but the parents are the greatest influence on your child, on the children, whether good or bad. Yeah. Whether good or bad. Yeah. And when parents get on TV, he wasn't a bad boy. You know that boy was bad. I'm like, just be truthful. That's how you get the best help. Yes. And just listening to your mama sound like my mama. My mama from Apalachicola, but your mama from Kingston. My mama from Apalachicola, but somewhere in there they drank that same Kool-Aid. They did. But I think it is phenomenal to hear you talking about how your mom and your grandmother instilled in your mom with these questions, with this conversation. Yes. This is what we need, Ms. Christelle. We need parents to stand up, or we can't pacify these children. We cannot. You can't. And we can. And people, they don't like me to say that word. They don't need another gymnasium. They need to be held responsible for these actions, and then they need to put them in. You're gonna put them in an alternative zone. Put their bus in school, right? Make that a court order decision, right? When I worked in foster care, I court ordered my parents to do so. And they didn't like me, but I have so many coming back right now saying thank you, because I respect you. I don't even know your mom, but I respect her. Carla, Miss Carla. I respect you. So because you could have gone another way. I could have. If I didn't have my mom, I would have went another way. I definitely would have went another way. And I know sometimes it sounds harsh when I say it, but I needed it. Yeah. I needed that because I think that's what we're missing nowadays is that fear of parent. My mom never hit me. I never got physically punished ever. But I was scared of disappointing her. And I think that's what, I don't tell people to operate out of fear, but be mindful of your value system of what you're disappointing this person. And when my mom said, "Don't make me disappointed in you," I was like, it hit so hard. Because my mom was my biggest cheerleader, my biggest advocate, trying to get child support from my dad was hard. He was in the Navy. And I mean, she just fought. And she fights all the time. I had somebody that did something not so nice to me the other day, and she was like, you don't need that person. You know what I mean? And she was like, yes. And she's still, and I'm 36, and sometimes I'd say, I'm grown, right? And she said, yes, but you need to even come in here. She's like, you're not there yet. So she is still that force that, kind of works with me. So in that moment, I failed 8th grade, and I had to go to PACE. So she found PACE. I'm not sure how she found PACE, but she found PACE. And I looked at her when we pulled up. I said, I just heard PACE, but when we pulled up, it said PACE Center for Girls. And I said, wait a minute. I said, there's no boys here. And I was so alarmed. I said, there's no boys. And I said, why would you do this to me? I said, the torment that these girls put me through. Like, my mom was included in a lot of the bullying that the girls were doing to me. We had to go to the police department at one point. And I said, why would you do this to me? I was in tears. And she said, this is the only option we have. And I said, okay.
I said, I'll go. And I went and I had a wall up. I mean, I was like, well, how long I have to be here? A year? Okay, I'm gonna do the year. I'm gonna make up 8th grade. I think in my head, I was making up 8th grade over the summer, and I was gonna go right to Leon.
Okay.
Go to Leon as the 9th grader. And I was like, but something about Pace when I entered the doors, I knew in my heart that I wasn't gonna go to Leon. I knew somehow, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And I knew that was no forever place, but I knew so when I went there, it was a layer of support. I mean, at first they would say, what's the Pace girl? What's the Pace girl? I'm so happy to see you. And I would be like, get out my face. Like, they were just so much. And now we would call it extra. They were so extra. And I was just like, but it was an extraness I never had and I didn't know I needed. So it was a family.
Wow.
I felt safe. I felt safe again, like in the turmoil of the world, just like at, my house in Queensbury. People may be like, oh, how they deal with this? How they deal with that? But my grandma made it safe. So it was like having my grandma, my mom, but in all these people.
Wow.
That was a safety blanket.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How much trouble did you give the people at Pace?
I gave them a lot of trouble. They thought about kicking me out because then I met my husband. And my husband, there's a little age difference at the time. And it's still an age difference, but now it don't matter so much. But back then it did. But my husband, I met him through my mom. He trained my mom. And he came in also. He is also one of the main reasons my life turned around. Because I know the path I was going down. I was dibbling and dabbling in the thoughts of drugs, but it wouldn't have took long. It wouldn't have took long with the party life and I was just wanted to be outside, as they say. I wanted to be seen. Yeah, and I was looking for validation and acceptance and safety from all the wrong places.
Hey, y'all do me a favor, please. Would y'all share this? Would y'all please share this? Because we have so many women and girls who are suffering in silence. We have so many enduring so many things. But here talking with Miss Christelle, her story is a story of a hope line. I hope you're hearing that, but it's a hope line. So if you would you please share? You never know who life we're saving. Sometimes we're so busy doing this, but we're not hearing what someone is saying. We attend a conference, and every time this one young lady get up, she always talking about suicide and how's this and that. Well, Dr. Therese and I was sitting there, and we was like, she's crying out for help. But we don't think everybody was what a good speech. What a good, no, this young girl is crying out for help. So sometimes we miss helping people because we don't dig deep enough into what they're saying. Absolutely. And sometimes you just got to look people in the eye. The Bible said the eye is the window to the life, to the soul. And you can look people in the eyes and see that things ain't happening. Here she is, so we're in Pace. She's giving them all kind of trouble. And I know, right? And so take us up to speed and get us almost to graduation.
Okay. So I'm at Pace. I'm flourishing. I'm doing well. I'm buying into the program. These people like me. And they call me if I'm not there. They come to your house if you're not there. And they come to your job if you're not there. So I started working at 15, got a little taste of money. I was working at McDonald's. My mom was a district manager, I think, at the time. And she got me a job. I was she's going to be upset that I don't remember the name, but the hamburger, the big puppets for McDonald's. I was that in all the parades. And then I started working, and I was like, again, pay some money. I don't need school. So I started backing away from Pace a little bit. I was in this relationship with this guy, and, I kind of moved in with him. My mom was working out of town, and we moved in together for a little bit. I was just over there all the time, and I wouldn't go to school. And he said, hey, you can stay here. We can do this thing. But you can go to school. And don't put that on me. I already am dealing with this age thing that, from my homeboys, my family, you're going to at least do well. And I said, okay.
And I love the people in your life.
Yes. He's my rock. Yes. So then I started having a bit of anxiety, like really bad anxiety. I'd have some panic attacks and had some health concerns. Realized later on in life, very later on, that it wasn't anxiety. I was having something with my heart. I had a heart condition where one of the valves weren't connected. And so when I would sit up to stand up, I would have these things. So he supported me through all that. You would think he would leave at this point. I was 15. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything. My husband, he was my husband at the time, but he was 21. So he had, he was a general manager. He had his own things going on. So again, pouring into me and seeing a version of myself that I didn't see. So Paige stepped in again. I had some problems and I would flick the lights and sometimes there would be no lights. And I know my mom was trying and working hard, but it was just her. And it gets hard. But my mom, I can't talk about her enough, but my mom would say, let's just go get something to eat. And we would go to the finest restaurant to eat. And she's like, we'll figure the life thing out.
I love that. I love it.
And we did. And she was so resilient. We figured it all out. But PACE, just education was hard. And PACE made it easier. They had tutors, they had volunteers that came in. And I really didn't think I was going to make it past there. I said, I'll just work and, be a worker bee. And so anyhow, speeding up, I then left PACE. And 2 weeks before I was leaving PACE, I found out I was pregnant.
After graduation?
No, I didn't graduate. So I did 8th, 9th, and 10th grade at PACE. Okay. And I was there for 2 years. So I was able to make up 3 years in only 2 years. Because, they have summer.
Right.
So, but I also I was at Bobby Valton's house. I went to country clubs. I went to a cotillion at one point. I mean, I was exposed to a lot.
You was the girl.
Yes. Yeah. I went to Busch Gardens. I went to Disney World with Pace. I mean, I was the face of Pace and I loved it. But then I started realizing as I was having things in the community, I still had a bully that was, believe it or not, still stalking me from Griffin, trying to hurt me. And I went to the police station in I never forget TBD. I went in my uniform and they said, oh, well, I mean, you can probably handle it. Why are you at the bad girl school anyway? And I remember it. And I went marching to Dr. Torres. I marched and I said, this cannot happen. I was like, I'm here trying. And they're telling me I'm at the bad girl school. I'm not here because I'm bad.
Wow.
And, they end up doing an official apology on the news. We got a check from TBD. And it was the time. At that point, I started doing some things with Ron Sachs Communication. Somebody from there reached out to me and was like, you need to go in PR. You need to go in communication. I said, no. I'm a dyslexic girl. I can barely spelling right. No. And I did an internship over the summer with them, and I loved it. And I said, this is how people will change. This is how people learn. So much exposure, but I felt like I was disappointing them when I left because I didn't come in with the risk factor of pregnancy. A lot of people feel like PACE is a pregnant girl school. I got 70 girls right now. 1 is pregnant. So it's not the pregnant girl school. It's just another resource that we have if you're in that situation.
And PACE is actually good for everything. There was one saying that you say, not once a PACE girl, always a PACE girl, but it is powerful too. I can't remember what it is. I think it started in the Spirited Girls class.
Find the great in every girl.
Find the great in every girl. Come on, keep going.
Believing in girls. I can't think of another.
I don't know. He's like, Judy, what are you talking about? But anyway, go ahead. Because I want us to get to where you are now.
I will. I'm going to speed up.
But you got to tell all because you have done so much at PACE. One of my close friends is on here. That's Kira Board. Absolutely love Kira.
Yes,
so you got a fan club.
Oh, hello, everybody. That's so excited.
You got a fan club.
Yes.
But go ahead. Tell us.
So then I fast forward. I went to, I left PACE. I found out I was pregnant at that time. That is the darkest time in my life. When I found out I was pregnant, I was happy because I was in a relationship, but I was scared. I was like, now I'm really going to disappoint everyone. I'm really going to be nothing. Like I'm going to be nothing. I couldn't think of what my husband was or my boyfriend at the time and my mom. And it was the most disappointed I ever saw my mom.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
My mom didn't speak to me for a while. And I remember telling her I was pregnant. I remember it like yesterday. And I remember her saying, okay, so can you be ready at 9 or 10 to go to the abortion clinic? And she said, because I won't allow you to ruin your life. And I said, well, that's the thing. And that's when I learned advocacy. That bold little girl spoke up again. I said, that's the thing. I'm keeping my child. And I remember the look on her face. And she said, get out. I got kicked out that night. And and now she and my daughter are best friends, Natalia. But I remember feeling so alone, and we had some other challenges that we faced at the time with her. And I remember, my mom went through some things, and I was going through this pregnancy, and I felt like I had no one. I had no one. So I turned to the church. I was like, you know what? I have brought my family into the church from Jamaica, and I won't name the church, but I went to the church, and the church kicked me out. Church told me I was a disappointment, and I think at that moment I felt like nothing, because I'm like, this is a place that's supposed to be here for me. And so when you talk about church hurt, it took 10 years.
You just dropped the bomb on me.
It took 10 years. And they said, well, you can go and live with a family that can't conceive, and then you can give them your baby. And you got to eat what they want you to eat. I think I had moved to Utah to be with the family. And and I said, wow. And I remember feeling so broken. And they told me I couldn't come back. I was an embarrassment, was the exact word that.
How old were you at this time?
I was 15.
Oh, all this happened at 15?
I was 15. I was 15 and pregnant and alone. My mom had some challenge and was away from me for a while. And I remember, going to visit her and walking to go and see her and thinking, I have no one. I have no one I can tell this to. I have no one. And then I was like, you know what? Let me plug Pace in. And I called, and they were like, yeah, we were going to come find you because we haven't. And they have a transition program, and they stayed with me the step of the way, every step of the way, every appointment. And my mom ended up being there for every appointment. She showed up. She did my baby shower. Yeah.
For that moment, you disappointed her expectation, but she never kicked you out.
Right. So I had my daughter at 16, moved in fully with my husband now, Joey, and he broke down one night, and the cab was like $50 to get home. And he said, how do everyday people do this? And I was like, I don't know. So it would be cool if they had like a flat rate. And he was like, yeah, that would be cool. What would we do? And we did $8 for students and seniors and $10 for regular people. And my daughter was 3 months old when we started. So remember now, I don't have a license. I'm 16. I just turned 16. And so I ended up getting my license. I would drive at night. He would drive in the day. We started with one cab. At this point, I was still invested in Pace, but the pull away I wasn't visiting as much, but they were still coming to see me. Got married in 2006. I was 18 when I got married. I went to TAP, the pregnant school. So she was able to go to daycare, and that was a beautiful program as well, because I was able to get parenting skills and parenting classes. And I felt like I was doing something.
Okay.
And then I met Bob Streeter, who was Mrs. Streeter's husband, and I heard his story about, being 13, his mom was. And I was like, and he was like, you're not out. Don't count yourself out. This is not done.
Yes.
And again, those words, and coming from a male for me, that was really, because I didn't have that.
Right.
So that was really significant for me. So I remember saying, oh my gosh, okay, I can do this. And I got a little bit of hope. So we started.
Wow. How about that? When did that hope
Yep.
into pool?
That's when that hope started coming.
Wow, Mr. Streeter, what an awesome input, man. What an awesome invest. I love Bob Streeter and his wife.
Verna, we are close friends. I call her my Tallahassee mom.
Yeah, Tallahassee. Oh, and I know they eat you up. All right, go ahead. We almost.
Okay. So I started the business, and I went to TCC shortly after in 2007 when I left Pace. When I left Lively, I graduated valedictorian, by the way. And my husband will tell you it was only 8 of us, but that doesn't matter. I was valedictorian. So when I graduated, I went straight into TCC. I was like, I'm going to do this. I was like energized. I was like, yes. I flunked so bad. All Fs. I mean, I had like a 1.6 GPA when I returned in 2014 after that talk with my mom. So I'm a full transparent person, so I'm going to tell you how we got there real quick. So in 2014, 2012, I returned to TCC. I did 2 years, and I graduated with honors there. And when I was graduating, I was like, yes, I got this piece of paper. It's the first time I called her real name, and I'm going to do it again. I got this paper for Jean Loretta Reed. And I was like, I'm going to mail this paper to her. My mom and I joked. And I was like, I'm going to get 20 copies and mail this degree to her. And
I love it.
And so we did that. And the business was taking off. We turned it into like a limousine and party bus business at the time. We were expanding in Wakulla and Thomasville at the time. And my husband did a website. And it's what I needed at the time to keep going, because I think my calling was this, and I could still assist with the company. But I was walking through the pavilion at TCC, and I see the website says, owner, operator, and founder of Discount Transportation, Joey Adams. And I said, okay. And I bump into the Bill, who is the Dean of Social Work at Thomas University at the time. And he was a chair, and I bump into him. And he said, hey, where you going? And I said, oh, I'm going to. He said, what, you graduating? I said, yes. He said, what are your plans? And he said, just try it. What do you have to lose? Just try it.
Oh, I love it.
And I said, okay. And at this point, I had two kids and two girls. And I was like, okay. And I tried it. And I went to Thomas University, and I just couldn't take one class. And every semester, I said, I'll just take one more class. I'll take one more class. And when I went to enroll in Thomas, I was pregnant with twins. I was pregnant with twin boys. And I said, I'm just going to stay home, be a mom. I'm not. And he said, well, just come and try it out. It's small. So I kept coming. And I had my son. I lost one, but I had my son on the Monday. And then on the Wednesday, I was back in class, breastfeeding.
That's that Jamaican Kingston woman.
So breastfeeding class, went to Thomas University, graduated magna cum laude. And then I just kept going. I just kept saying, why not?
Okay, and for the sake of time, y'all, I'm telling you, y'all contact her, go to Pace, call Miss Christelle, because she's about to tell you who she is right now.
Yes.
And so you went through Pace as a student, you did this, and then you came back.
So I came back.
Worked there.
Yep.
You went on the steps.
I did every role in the center.
As you sit right here on the Real Talk with Judy Live Radio show, the show you always wanted to be on.
Yes.
Sitting right there. Who are you now to Pace?
I am the so proud executive director of Pace Center for Girls.
Ooh. Everybody on here, just put those hand claps on here. She is the executive director, y'all, of Pace Center for Girls. She is the executive director. Don't tell me you can't rise. Don't tell me you can't rise.
Yeah.
You can rise. You can rise.
Yes. Yes.
Pamela Murray, she's from I think California.
Oh, hello.
But she said, keep going. She's a phenomenal woman as well.
Oh.
Listen, you are absolutely. So tell me this, as executive director now.
Yes.
And you have given us so many nuggets.
Yes.
You have given.
I think
so. You have. You really have. I think some of my favorite ones are the fact that your grandmother and your mom really instilled into you a deep hope that kept you from really drowning.
Right.
Because you could have been buried in this cement of hopelessness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your mom giving you those tough talks. I believe in those tough talks.
Yeah.
Maybe because that's what my mom did to us. There was no sugarcoating. My dad was. There was no sugarcoating. When I look at people now trying to pacify, and they say, "Judy, you so hard." It's not a matter of being hard. You got to help people.
Yeah.
So in just a minute or two, tell us, give them something, y'all. I know I let her talk a lot, but to me, her testimony. We're living in 2023 in a hopeless society. A lot of our children are enduring so many things at home. They're enduring. I was talking with Dr. Janet Clary, and she said people are talking about bullying in school. She said a lot of the bullying started at home.
Right. All right. And we saw that a lot with COVID. Girls just didn't feel safe at home.
Yeah.
You know, that person you trust, or that happened to me, person that you trust as a family member, just doesn't work out that way. They don't mean you well, you know. So I think, just remembering that. I think my mom always says it when I'm having my low moments now, like, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And it'll work out just how it's supposed to. And I've held true to that. Like, I've held true to that because I've seen it. I've seen it in myself. Like, even hearing you read my resume, I'm like, wow, I did that. And, you know, somewhere else the other day they were reading my resume. I was like, who are they talking about?
I love it.
You know, and sometimes they come to get me for ED things, like, and I said, hey, why are you giving me this bill? I'm not. So it's still sinking in that this is who I am, because being that hopeless little girl, I didn't think I would ever be here. So being here I know that this is my destiny. Like, I know this is what's supposed to be.
In my book, one of the chapters is called I Belong Here. That's one of the chapters called I Belong Here. And everything that you have gone through, everything in life that you have survived, one of the things I know that works is, Christelle, is the fact sometimes you got to let people read back to you your accomplishments. Sometimes you just got to hear them again. You got to hear it. You got to hear people tell you what you have accomplished.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, sitting here, just when I read your bio, it encouraged me. There's some things I wanted to do, and after reading it, man, I started working on it last night. I stayed up to almost 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock this morning.
Me too.
Did prayer at 3 and then kept going, because just reading that gave me some inspiration.
Oh.
And you're gonna have people who don't believe in you. You're gonna have people do this and do that.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most important things, and you heard it today from Miss Christelle, you got to believe in yourself.
You do. You do.
You got to find a hope. And parents, if I can say anything to you, don't just, glide your children through life. Give them truth so they can handle when they get in those dark moments and you ain't there. Okay, let's do that. Because we still rise. We still rise. I want to thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Y'all can go and find her on PACE Center for Girls Leon.
Yes.
And so we thank you. Give out the number right quickly so they can call you.
850-544-6937. That is my personal number. I have no worries about giving it out. Come by, come see what we do, come see the magic and the amazing people I work with every day.
So, y'all, this has been Miss Christelle Avalis.
Yes.
Miss Christelle Avalis, the Executive Director of PACE Center for Girls Leon. Y'all check her out. Y'all share this. I know that this has been a blessing to you, because what we do, we build you up. I see you in the future, and guess what? You're rising higher than ever. That's real talk. God bless you.
Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy.